I was getting really frustrated with people getting stuck in certain modifications. People would start doing pull-ups in a band, and a year later they're doing pull-ups in the same band. A person never went for the run, they jumped on the bike, and they were always on the bike. They were just cutting exercises and movements out of their life like it wasn't on the table, not because they didn't want to do it, but because they were worried about getting hurt or that it would aggravate something else that was already going on. All right, we're gonna get started. We're gonna start with a wall quad stretch. So drag your ab mat near a wall. You're gonna open up those hips, open up those quads, get a little length to your muscles.
Can I do like...
100%, I love it. Great, stop. Everything's great. That's okay. Perfect height. We will stay with the 12.
Okay.
For the 15, it won't take 10 minutes. In 3, 2, 1, go. I'm Justin McClintock. I'm an active life professional in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So we're at Subversus Fitness in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, right in Center City, and I've been coaching here for just over 8 years now. This is not the first gym I coached at or the first gym I was at. I moved to Philadelphia because my wife got a job here, and I looked around for a gym to work out at. I liked CrossFit at the time, that's what I was doing, so I dropped in at a bunch of CrossFit gyms. And this one I was really impressed with the coaching off the bat. We're in a basement, we don't get a lot of sunlight. It is not the most spacious area in the world, but I was really impressed with the emphasis they put on coaching and paying attention and giving as much individual attention to people as they could. I stuck here immediately, and within about 9 months, I decided that I was gonna try and get a part-time job here also. I think it was 3 or 4 years into full-time group coaching, and I had gotten whatever, hundreds or thousands of group classes under my belt, and many people had come through the gym, and overwhelmingly successful. People were happy, people liked it, people liked the program, people liked coming to my classes. But I felt like we were capable of doing a lot more even as a gym for these people, and we were just missing tools to do it. I felt I was missing tools to really affect the change that we could have and have a far bigger impact on people's lives than what I had started to see as just making them sweaty and happy, but not necessarily making the rest of their lives really better, especially in kind of a in the long term. Like, we weren't doing enough for longevity and durability, in my opinion. At the beginning of COVID, right after the shutdown, was when I first started pursuing active life education. And it was a very scary time to invest in education, but I had a little time on my hands and I saw the value of it absolutely immediately. In the first week I was sold. Applying this coaching education during COVID was hard because everything was remote. We weren't in the same room with people, we weren't allowed to touch people. Fortunately, I had already had a fair amount of experience doing remote coaching. I had a cadre of about 20 remote coaching clients at that point. So with that experience, it was a little easier for me to implement what we were doing. I had relationships, I could ask people to put themselves on video. Everyone had already swapped over to working out in their house or their basement or their backyard or whatever they were doing. So I could say, hey, I've been learning some things. I think this is really important. Remember that knee thing you've been telling me about? I'd like to try something. Please do this, please put it on video. I want to know what it looks like, but I care even more about how it feels. And I found that clients were excited I was getting more education, excited that I was adding more tools to my toolbox, and were really on board to sort of help me in this journey, especially knowing that it was going to help them. So we've got our apnea walks.
Yes.
So these are apnea walks, and what we're really doing is building up your CO2 tolerance. Which is, so CO2 is the stress messenger of the body, as it were.
Okay.
The better you are at tolerating your body being full of CO2, the better you are at actually dealing with stress, not only exercise stress, right?
Oh.
Like we are managed stress, but out in the world, if you ever find yourself getting like panicky, those big chest breaths, like yeah. That is your body offloading CO2 as fast as it can. It's not actually pulling more oxygen, it's actually getting rid of CO2.
Got it.
Yeah. Which is your sympathetic nervous system,
stress.
yeah, fight or flight, all of that. So we're deliberately putting you in like a little bit of uncomfortable, a little bit of a panicky state, a little bit of a place that isn't great, but you can hang out, you can manage, and your body starts realizing, oh, well this is actually fine. So we're adapting the same way, like as we add more and more weight, right. We're adding more and more CO2 stress, and you get better and better at dealing with it in the world, out in your life, and all that stuff.
Everywhere. Okay.
Good, relax and hold it. Beautiful. Hold it, hold it, hold it. We can be uncomfortable. "23? We have a new champion. Fortunately, we do have one more set.
Right.
How'd that feel?
That was hard fought, but concentrating on slowing down my steps made a big difference. So, and also, no, you could, it's fine, it's fine.
Yeah, realizing,
Fine,
and
fine.
even thinking that like this is uncomfortable, but I'm in a room full of oxygen.
Right.
At any moment you can just pull that, like,
Right.
I'm not trapped, we're not way underwater, this isn't actually,
avalanche.
not buried alive, I'm not, all of the terrible things that I kind of am thinking about right now.
I don't go to class because in working with Justin in that personalized one-on-one approach, and from all the success that I've seen, I really enjoy the one-on-ones, but I also purchased the home program too. So I do 2 workouts with him here and then 2 home workouts during the week. I'm Jessica Connolly. I work as an employee benefits consultant, which means that we help employers plan their benefit programs. So healthcare is my main focus of all day, every day. If I had my choice, I would be asking all of my clients to put a personal trainer available for their employee base. I think it would be a huge win for all of their employees and, of course, their healthcare spend, which is what we're trying to manage. Outside of here, I got married at the end of last year, and I turned 50 this year, so some pretty big milestones along the way. My job is 8 hours at a computer, like a lot of people's. And so that sedentary lifestyle was certainly showing up in my health, and I knew I needed to reverse a lot of that stuff. So some of my main focuses over the last year have been nutrition and exercise, and really strength training to avoid osteoporosis and making sure I have mobility as I get older. So this has been life-changing. I don't see any end point. In fact, I was thinking about it the other day and I said, this is nothing I ever want to stop, because movement is medicine, and I want to be mobile enough to do all the things I want to do in my life, but also be able to walk, talk, and feed myself as I get older. I don't see any end point, because you're always going to be pursuing another goal. Like for a while there, it was rehabbing my knee or my shoulder. I also had my hip replaced in 2019. I have a pin in my elbow. I had surgery on my foot. I mean, like, I'm half bionic at this point. But there's no end goal in sight, because I want this I want an active life for the rest of my life. And that's my goal.
How do you feel?
Good. Tired.
The Active Life Professional Education is a 13-month-long course, and it gave me the tools to solve people's problems that I hadn't been able to solve before. Really high-level things. People who had had movements taken away from them, things they weren't able to do anymore, how to bring these movements back to them in a way that they didn't have to worry about pain, worry about injury, feel like they had to be uncertain or not confident about doing these movements. On top of that, the tools to build a business that could sell, design, communicate exactly what all of these tools are, so I can also get paid like a professional who's been pursuing a ton of education and is solving really high problems. Look at that.
Yeah,
That's like
a lot lower than I thought I was going.
way,
Yeah.
well, that's one of the things about these, like, you won't necessarily feel it because we're taking your ankles out of it a little
Right.
bit, but like
Yeah.
that's just a
Yeah, that's
squat
just
with
like
weight in your
sitting.
hands.
Yeah, that's just a squat.
You met Lauren this morning, who was post-back surgery and came in terrified to bend at all. Couldn't bend at the hips, didn't want to lift anything, didn't want to carry anything, just pure living in fear. Everything was scary, and she was sure that everything was going to hurt because she was in pain a lot of the time. And we talked through what it was going to be, and I told her it was going to be months. Definitely months. This is not a quick fix, and we don't fix people. We're trying to solve this problem, but we're going to start really slow and really light, and we're going to add tiny little bits every week, and that's how we're going to go. When she understood, she was on board, I have a video of her squatting, holding onto the heaviest band in the gym, squatting, sending her hips back 2 or 3 inches and standing up again, and holding onto this band for dear life for assistance. And 2 weeks ago we squatted 40 pounds to below parallel, perfectly fine. Now I just described 14 weeks of work, but she's also walking her dogs without fear. She can bend over and pick up after her dogs. She's not scared to do housework anymore. She can get things off high shelves. Like, she's not scared to get out of bed. Like, is it 100%? Are we back to running and throwing weights around? No, but we're on our way. But we are not scared to be in the world anymore, and that is a huge step forward, also that she wasn't getting in physical therapy and things like that, unfortunately. Super strong.
I mean, I thank him all the time. I mean, thank you for letting me be able to move around, to bend down with freedom, to walk my dogs with freedom, to like every day I feel like I'm getting stronger, and I attribute that so much to Justin. I feel it, like not only feel it, like I can see it physically, and I've said that to him, like I can see physically I'm getting stronger. I can see that my muscle tone's coming back, because again, you know, I worked here for 10 years building up muscle and strength, and it was disheartening when I couldn't do that anymore. So coming back, being able to work with him one-on-one and get, you know, strengthening, like, thank you all the time. I'm so grateful, and I'm so grateful for him because he completely, like, I keep saying pivot, but like on the fly. He just always modifies. If I'm like, this doesn't feel good, I don't feel good, like I trust him, and he just, you know, will adjust accordingly really quickly, and I really appreciate that about him.
All right, let's start with these. So 6 to 8, down slow, pause at your chest. And then we'll take our 30 seconds break, and then we'll do our ring rows. Okay, so let's start here. So Justin predated me being here as a member. He was already a part-time coach at the time, and then came on shortly thereafter as a full-time coach, and then was one of the full-time coaches here when I took ownership over the business.
When I started Feel Strong, the gym was doing 0 personal training. The gym was doing 0 remote training. So I wasn't in competition. I went off and did this thing on my own. As it grew and it became apparent it was more successful, he said, well, we're gonna do some of this too, which makes perfect sense, but hasn't asked me to stop doing any of the other stuff, just also contribute to the gym side of it, as well as what I've learned in education and that kind of stuff. It's really important to me to help other people not make all the mistakes I've made.
Honestly, it's exciting because it's the thing that, like, when I got into coaching, it was the why behind what got me into it.
How many knee surgeries? 4?
15 per side, mountain climbers.
4 knee surgeries. So we've got a bit of mileage. We've got a bit of mileage on the knee. So we're working on restoring function, not so that she can't do jiu-jitsu, but so that in the future, when she wanted to do jiu-jitsu, she would know what her body needs to be stable and safe and move in different ways.
I think the thing that excites me most about working in a gym is changing people's lives. I came to fitness relatively late in life. I love telling people I did my first back squat when I was 30 years old. It was not a part of my life at all, and radically changed my life and how I carry myself, my ability to do things in the world, my ability to not get hurt and continue moving as I get older. And that was really what excited me first to be a coach. And I think that's a big part of why I keep looking for these tools in education, and Active Life has been a huge part of that, of being able to take people to the next level. Yes, they can move. Yes, they're willing to show up. Yes, I know how to do basic movements with them safely. Fine. When their individual issues arise, when they aren't sure how to handle it, when the stresses of the outer world become too much, we still have tools to deal with that. This can be a lab where we can deal with individual problems on a really high-level basis and give people the tools to deal with the rest of the world in the way they want to and experience the life they want to experience. The place I am now career-wise is incredibly fulfilling and remarkable, and I'm not sure I could have even envisioned it 3 years ago. Even when I sort of understood the tools that I realized I was missing, I don't think I fully understood the impact I would be able to have, how clearly I would be able to communicate it, or once I got some steam going, how many people would talk to other people and show up and be willing to spend time and effort and resources and really focus on solving their problems in a way that we can. That takes time. I'm not sure I could have fully envisioned how well this has gone, which has been a really nice surprise. I jumped from my past career to becoming a part-time coach. When I did that, I had to say no to most of the other opportunities in my career. And that was terrifying. I went home, to this day I remember, I sat home across from my wife and said, how would you feel about me taking a 90% cut in pay? I think I can make this coaching thing work. She was very patient and said, well, let's do a budget, see what that looks like. And we decided we could make it work. The jump from being a part-time coach and feeling stuck, if there's someone out there who's feeling stuck, you have to keep this other job, you'll never be able to make enough money doing the part-time coaching you are right now. Overwhelmingly, that's not true. You just don't understand how to change the environment you're potentially already in. Lots of gyms could be places where people are being really successful. Lots of gyms that only do group training would be happy to do personal training. They just don't understand how to do it, or they don't believe that people there want it, which is more often the case. There are people who want your solutions. There are people who are willing to pay for your solutions. There are people who absolutely trust you if you know the way forward. So it is a huge bet on yourself, but it is absolutely worth it. What happens next? We're going to keep growing Feel Strong. We're expanding our one-on-one work in person. We're moving to doing only solving these higher level problems. We're doing less and less pure fitness, more and more solving big problems for people who aren't getting their solutions solved in the fitness industry or the medical industry right now. And I think we're going to do a lot more coach mentoring. I'm really enjoying talking to other coaches, people who feel stuck, who don't know how to solve the place they're in, who feel like they can make a big contribution and build a business and build a career but don't understand the way forward, and walking them through that and unpacking what it could look like is really fun and really satisfying.